I was just beginning to realize that I wasn't the same as all of the other boys, or at least the boys that I knew. Whenever my mother would leave the house, and I knew it was going to be for more than an hour, the minute I heard that door slam, I would run up the stairs, open her closet door, and lo and behold, what would I find? A closet full of dresses and high heels. And I tried every single one of them on.
That's Stephen Barada, live on stage at the Howl Grand Slam in 2017. And on today's episode of The Howl, a trip into and out of the closet. From NCPR and the Adirondack Center for Writing, this is The Howl. True stories told right in the North Country. I'm Ethan Shanty. Before we kick things off, I'm going to tell you that this show is only possible because of your support. It costs money to make The Howl, and things have just gotten more expensive over this last year. So I'm asking you right now, head to ncpr.org/give and make a donation. Maybe give $1 for every episode of The Howl that you've enjoyed. Maybe just give $50. Whatever works for you, it all makes a difference. It's ncpr.org/give, and tell them that Ethan sent you. Thanks so much. All right, let's get on with the show. Have you ever thought about how weird and amazing it is that we have an imagination? Unique, brand new, never before seen images and ideas that only we experience. I mean, every book that you've ever read, every song that you've ever loved came from someone's brain, someone's imagination. It sounds a little silly when you put it like that, but it's true. I don't know that I was what you'd call a latchkey kid, but I found myself playing alone all the time, even though I have 6 brothers. I'd make up imaginary friends. I'd explore new alien worlds around my parents' woods and farmland. I was marveling at everything that I saw, seeing things for the first time. That fern, that bird, picking up a branch and swinging it at monsters. Sometimes I was James Bond's younger brother, Steve Bond, or Luke Skywalker's sidekick. I don't know. I always felt weird about pretending to be people that already existed. I wanted to make up my own, And on rainy days, I'd explore the weird corners of the inside of the house. And maybe everybody does this at some point. When my parents weren't home, I'd crawl into my parents' walk-in closet. There were boxes of shoes I never saw them wear. There was a deerskin jacket with the frills that only came out on special occasions. That mothball smell mixed with the scent of basic brand cigarettes. And there were totes full of crumbling photo albums. I think everybody has those at home. It was in this closet that one rainy afternoon, I stumbled upon my dad's guitar. I'd seen guitars on TV and in one of my favorite movies at the time, Back to the Future, but I'd never seen one in person, let alone seen my dad play it. Unclasping the case and opening it for the first time felt like this revelatory moment. The choir wasn't quite singing, it was too out of tune for that, but you get the idea. I was kind of afraid to touch the guitar too, but when I was sure they weren't home, I'd give it a tentative strum and wonder how you made songs like Johnny Be Good or my favorite at the time, Achy Breaky Heart. Eventually, I got a little bit more brazen and I'd even hold the guitar in my hands. My parents must have noticed because at some point it went from being stored away in the dark closet to under my parents' bed where it was a little bit more accessible. And I picked it up more and more often, still not knowing what I was doing, but just liking the idea of making something brand new, making sound, making my imagination come out. And even though I've been playing music since I was 10, every day feels a little bit like that first tenuous journey through the closet. I never quite know what it is that I'm going to do when I pick up the guitar, and I'm never quite sure exactly what sound it's going to make. But damn it, I am going to make it sing somehow. Stephen Barada has a story of discovering himself in the closet too, but what he found was a dress. He told this story live on stage in Saranac Lake back in 2017.
Many, many years ago, when I was just a boy, I was about 13 to be exact, and, 13, prepubescent, puberty, I was just beginning to realize that I wasn't the same as all of the other boys, or at least the boys that I knew. And one of the things that clued me into this was that whenever my mother would leave the house, and I knew it was going to be for more than an hour, the minute I heard that door slam, I would run up the stairs, open her closet door, and lo and behold, what would I find? A closet full of dresses and high heels. And I just tore through them over my shoulders, on my arms, picked up the heels in both hands, ran into the bathroom, locked the door, the huge half-wall vanity, and I tried every single one of them on. Well, this went on for about 2 years, and in that time, I thought that I had gone through every dress in my mother's closet. But one day, sitting all the way in the back, kind of hidden off by itself, kind of like I felt once in a while, was this cute little black cocktail dress, over-the-shoulder straps, rhinestone buckles in the back, and I fell in love immediately. I was just like, this is the most beautiful thing I have ever seen. And it's in my mother's closet. Most of her stuff was like housewives' dresses. You know, I didn't mind dressing up in that and looking funny and prancing back and forth. So from then on, I would always go into the closet and I would throw the dresses over my shoulder, but I would always pick that one up and I would lay it singly over my arm, and I never wore it. I would hold it, I would look at it, I would hold it up, I would put it over myself, I would look in the mirror, but I never put it on. So fast forward about 8 years, and I am now dressing up on a regular basis as a woman, even passing sometimes, if any of you are familiar with that term, and dancing as a drag queen. I found out that there were other boys that dressed in women's clothes, and they were called drag queens, and I was no different than them. And I was dancing go-go on tops of bars and 8-inch heels. I was also going to different events, gay pride events. One year I dressed up as Queen Elizabeth, and I remember that night very clearly because it was 11 o'clock at night, and I'm walking from my house to my friend's house across the street in full drag, my tiara on, my scepter in my hand, and I'm walking past, and all of a sudden I hear this rustling behind me, and I hear this drunk that's waking up, and he takes one look at me, and I go, "You're knighted." And I hear him say, "I think I just saw the Queen." So anyway, I have lots of pictures about this. I'm very out of the closet, literally. So it's a story about closets and skeletons in the closets and closets and closets. And I'm literally out of the closet. And I have pictures. My whole family knows that I'm gay. My family knows that I dress up in drag. And I'm home visiting one day, and my mother is going through her closet, through all of her old clothes. And of course, who does she choose to come up and help her? Me. Not my 2 sisters, not my 2 brothers, me. So she's going through, and she's like, "Oh, I should get a dress." And she'd look at it, and she'd say, "I don't know about this one. What should I do with it?" And I'm like, "I don't know, it's kind of ugly." And then, so, okay, I'll give this one away. And then the next one, "Oh, I think I'll keep this one." And this goes on for about a half an hour. And all of a sudden, she pulls out a dress, and what dress is it? It is the dress that I am in love with, that I have been in love with for 10 years now. She pulls out that little black cocktail dress with the over-the-shoulder straps and the rhinestone snaps in the back. And I'm just like, I don't know what to say. I'm just like, oh my God, she's got the dress. What's she going to do with it? So she's like, pulls it out, and she gets this smile on her face. And I could tell instantly that this dress was special and it had a meaning to her. And she smiles, and she's looking at it, and she looks at me, and she's looking at it. And she says, "This was my prom dress." And I'm like, wow, that's really sweet. And she still got it. And she goes, yeah, I kept it because all these years because I thought one day one of your sisters would want it, but I don't think that's going to happen. And I don't know what to do with it. And I'm just like, I could tell you what to do with it. And she's just, looking at it. And she says, I really don't know what to do with it. And then she turns to me. And she goes, but I think I know what to do with it. And she looks at me, and she reaches out with the dress in her hands, and she puts it on my lap, and she says, I'm going to give it to someone who I know will love it. Yes, and I'm crying. I have no idea, but I don't think she knows anything about the fact that, I've been putting her dresses on for 10 years now, and that was the dress I wanted. I wore the dress one more time after that, but that's another story that you'll have to wait for. And then I passed it on to someone else who I knew would love it. And I just want to thank you, and I want to thank my parents who helped me to understand who I am with compassion, love, and no judgment. Thank you.
That's it for this week's edition of The Howl. Thanks so much to Stephen for telling that story. Thanks to you for joining us, and thanks to you for supporting us, too. Right now, you can head to ncpr.org/give and make a contribution in support of The Howl, in support of everything that NCPR does. From award-winning journalism to one-of-a-kind music shows, everything that we do is possible because of you. So head to ncpr.org/give. Give us $5, give us $10, give us $100, whatever works for you, whatever makes the most sense. It all makes a difference. Thanks so much. The Howl is a co-production of NCPR and the Adirondack Center for Writing. Bill Hanel is our digital guy, Doyle Dean is our production manager, Caitlin Kelly handles our social media, and David Summerstein is our script editor. You can find out more about the Adirondack Center for Writing and listen to other episodes of this show by visiting ncpr.org/howl. By the way, our theme music is by Famous Letter Writer of Plattsburgh. You can find out more about them at our website, too. Coming up on next week's episode of the show, another one of our invite-only stories from Al Lutz in Plattsburgh.
I had a bar full of drunk punks, almost completely silent, because I think they were just so confused. They did not know why I was there. And then I decided to pull out my secret weapon.
See you next week. For North Country Public Radio, I'm Ethan Shanty. This is NCPR.